Before I introduce our next speaker, I would just like to say I am so glad we had this time together. Now, about the man behind the Moonshot, Executive Director Greg Simon. I was just with him backstage, and he said his mother's here, so I should be really nice. Where are you, Mother? Where are you? Hi. Greg, understanding cancer begins by listening to those who have it. Mr. Simon was diagnosed with leukemia in 2014. So his perspective as a cancer survivor certainly qualifies him for leading the Cancer Moonshot. Mr. Simon has dedicated his career to lowering the barriers between science and cures. He's all too aware of the urgency of the Cancer Moonshot. He strongly believes that the Cancer Moonshot will achieve its goal of doubling the rate of progress and ultimately changing cancer as we know it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Director of the Cancer Moonshot, Mr. Greg Simon.
Thank you, Carol, and thanks, Mom, and my sister, and my daughter, and my wife. We have an estrogen poisoning problem at my house. First, I want to let you know that it is terrific that all of you are here today. I know so many of you. I wish I knew all of you. We need your help. We put cards on your table to remind you of how you want to help and the commitments that you want to make, that we're going to mail back to you after you fill them out and leave them at the table. Now, I can say that we all need help remembering our commitments because I came to work one day in a tuxedo jacket because I didn't notice on the way out the door. I was so eager to get to work that I grabbed my tuxedo coat and put it over my black suit pants. One of my colleagues wore 2 different colored shoes to work one day. So we're focused on the job, not always our wardrobe. We planned this Moonshot Summit to be as good as you all wanted to make it. We put each of you in a room with as many interesting people as we could find and as the room would allow to engage in a discussion about what we can do together to change the future of cancer, because we need to change the future of cancer to change the future of humanity. My job right now is to reflect back to you the light and some of the heat that you generated today and to show you the breadth of your imagination and commitment. Innovation is an idea in action, and I want to tell you some of your ideas and the actions that they require. For instance, one of my favorites is head knocking on data standards. As the old joke goes, everybody loves standards. That's why we have so many. We need to bring everybody together in one meeting, not a year of meetings, to set the data standards for our medical system, research, clinical, visits to the doctor, so that we can share it more easily among our researchers, that we can share it with the patients, and the patients can share it with whomever they want, from wherever they are to wherever they want it to go. This is a problem that should not exist. If it existed in the financial community, you would change banks. Businesses would go out of business. Systems would collapse. But somehow we accept, in the most important asset, our health, a lack of interoperability and a lack of standards we would never accept when dealing with money. We need to create one of these wonderful new apps that help us locate for people in rural communities oncologists and physicians that can help them with their particular problem and can give them information about how to get to the doctor, where to go, where to stay, All the things you would need for a vacation should be available when you need it for medical attention. And we all know that just going to the doctor is not it. It's the beginning of it. There's leaving work. There's getting a babysitter. There's affording the gas to get to the doctor or the clinical trial. We need to make it easier for people to plan, to save time, and to pay the expenses of people in clinical trials who otherwise could not afford to do it. There should be a patient at the table every time a clinical trial is designed. It's about the patient. It's not about the drug. It's not about the doctor. It's not about the institution. It's about the patient. But they're often an afterthought, and we wonder why people don't sign up for trials. There should be a way to rate the clinical trial organizations by how well they incorporate patients into what they do, so that patients can talk to patients about clinical trials and give them the best places to go and the best organizations to look for and the best physicians and institutions and companies that are respecting the role of patients. We need a cancer corps just as badly as we need a Peace Corps. We need to be able to have oncology professionals in the government that have the chance to rotate through all of the agencies in the government that affect cancer. They need to be able to learn from other professionals and other financial and technical professionals how they do their job and how that affects the role of the professional in the government and in the cancer enterprise. And we need to be able to have, as one person said, an adult discussion about value and about pricing of new therapies. We're on the verge of technologies that are truly changing the face of cancer. They have to be affordable. They have to be accessible. And yet we still want to be sure to reward innovation that makes a difference, that saves a life, that extends a life in a meaningful way. We can't have a shouting match about it. We need to have a conversation with all of the stakeholders involved, especially the patient community. All of the actions that you all have put together today and that we announce in our fact sheet are setting the trajectory for this moonshot. They are the course that we're going to follow for the rest of the year to make certain that we take the work that we did before this summit and the work that we're doing at this summit to set a goal of getting as much accomplished this year as we can to achieve a decade's worth of progress in 5 years. The first moonshot set the tone for this moonshot. Kennedy didn't say we want to study the moon. He didn't say we want to give tenured positions in rocketry. He said we want to send a man to the moon and bring him back alive. That's what we want to do with all human beings, is to send them through their lives without being affected by cancer. It is technology in the service of humanity. It is not about the technology, just like the moonshot was not about the technology. It was about the aspiration of humankind to stretch our imagination and our borders. The difference here is the astronauts were along for the ride. They were sitting on a big firecracker that took them to the moon. We can't afford anybody to be along for the ride. We need all of you, each of you, your organizations, your companies, your foundations, your universities, to be part of the effort to make this work. The single most important ingredient to make this work is something that Vice President Biden brings to the work every single day, and that is the knowledge that we can do this. It is not just about hoping we can do it. It is the knowledge that we can do it. And if we can't have that understanding, then it'll be a wasted effort, which none of us would want to see. So I urge you, just as our hashtag is CanServe, each of you to make up your minds that we can achieve this and to help us do it as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'm proud to turn it over now to Dr. Biden and Vice President Biden. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Diane Hampton.
Good evening. My name is Diane Hampton. I was born on April 3rd, 1950, Washington, D.C. In 1973, I was sworn into the Air Force and was active from 1974 to 1979 as an air passenger specialist, receiving an honorable discharge in 1979. Fast forwarding to April 2014, I detected a lump on my neck and sought care at the Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center. That May, I had surgery and in June was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a cancer that affects the entire immune system. I felt tired, weak, scared, and was physically unable to work after having chemotherapy due to the infusions every 2 weeks for 6 months. By May 2015, I was in remission and happily returned to work. However, only 6 months later, on November 2nd, 2015, my cancer had returned, and I once again went on medical leave while managing a second round of debilitating treatments. I am here today thanks to the incredible care and support of my entire VA care team, including my physicians, Dr. Arsenio and Dr. Mo Barrett. I would not be alive if it wasn't for the care I received at the VA Medical Center. Once again, my cancer is in remission. I am a veteran and a Hodgkin lymphoma survivor. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak and represent patients, survivors, and veterans at this historic and significant moment in time. The Cancer Moonshot is meaningful to me because of my personal journey with cancer. But this is far bigger than me. This is a challenge that impacts each and every one of us around the world. It is a privilege to introduce the Vice President and Second Lady of the United States. In addition to working to bring attention to the sacrifices made by military families, Dr. Biden has dedicated her time to addressing cancer as a global health crisis through Binding Breast Health Initiative in Delaware and today through the Cancer Moonshot. Please join me in warmly welcoming a leader and a true role model, Dr. Jill Biden.
Thank you, Diane, for that kind introduction, for your service to our country, and for your unyielding bravery. Let's give Diane another round of applause. What an inspiring day to see so many people from all across our country, from all different sectors, come together with one goal in sight: to double the rate of progress toward ending cancer as we know it. Quite simply, it's been amazing. I've been moved by all of you standing together against cancer, putting forth new ideas to build a movement and to take actions that will make a difference. That's how we're going to win this fight, together. I've said it before, this fight is personal. But it was never about us. It was never about Joe and me and our family. We know what to hope for, and we want to give that hope to other Americans. But it's not about us. It's about the fighters and survivors like Diane, the caretakers and the researchers in the labs, the philanthropists, community oncologists, and patient advocates. It's about the millions of Americans, their loved ones, and so many more around the world who are affected by this disease and who can find hope in knowing that we're working toward a cure. None of us here today can do it alone. It's going to take all of us from every sector working hand in hand to make a real change. Only together can we seize this moment to defeat cancer. What you are doing, the movement you are building toward improving prevention and a cure can and will make all the difference in the world to those fighting this disease, for our children, for our parents, for our brothers and our sisters, for so many more than you will ever know. We have so much work to do to meet this challenge. I hope that you are just as inspired as I am to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep believing. And I promise you that Joe and I will be right there by your side every step of the way. Please join me in welcoming our Vice President, my husband, Joe Biden. Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. I'm Joe Biden, Jill's husband, and I'm happy to be here. Please sit down. You know, since Jill and I were doing some of the breakout sessions and roundtables, I asked some of the facilitators and staff how to go, and one of them said, it must have gone all right, they're all still here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of the best minds in the country are in this room, President Company excluded, but seriously, all of you, from industry, from science, technology, researchers, patient advocates. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm told this is the first really full-blown collaboration where all the stakeholders were in one room, one place, one time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciated it, and I can't tell you how much I learned today in the 2 breakout sessions I attended. I mean that I'm not being solicitous, and I've been working like the devil at this for a long while now, but I constantly am learning from all of you. And so I want to thank you. Thank you for your incredible work. Thank you for your dedication. And by the way, sometimes I know that my impatience comes through. I sometimes am too passionate about the things I care so deeply about and nothing I care more about, but I'm more optimistic. I'm more optimistic than any time since we launched the Moonshot because of what I've seen and heard today. The ideas, the collaborations, you just heard from my executive director, Greg Simon. These are a down payment on the effort that is needed to truly make a difference in cancer. And I know this sounds like hyperbole, but the whole world is counting on us. I mean that sincerely. Everywhere I go in the world, and I've been around a long time, as Jim knows, I've traveled over 1,100,000 miles just since being vice president. There is literally not a single world leader that I haven't known or met in the last 38 to 40 years. And as I go around the world today, all parts of the world, I go for other reasons. This is what they raise with me. They know about what you're doing. They know about what we're trying to do. And it is, and they want to collaborate as well. So, you know, in my discussions with the patient groups and industry leaders, scientists, physicians, there was a clear sense of, let's get it done now. There's so much we can get down. Data standards. The first meeting we had, I thought was extremely, extremely useful with the industry community and others. is that we can get new data standards. We can do it now. There's better ways to do combination drug therapies. We can do it now. We, the federal government can help or get out of the way in many cases. New ways to price drugs based on value so they can be affordable and we still reward innovation. And we can do that now. I promise you that we're going to follow every one of the ideas you've raised in these breakout groups, and we're going to try to make them realities as rapidly as we can. Remember, cancer never quits. Cancer doesn't sleep. Cancer never says, well, I can do damage tomorrow. It's now. It's now. So we have to move the ideas that you all have generated and that we've reached a consensus on. We've got to move them to reality, and we got to move it and work on it every single day in every way we can. We have to invest money, the time, the people, the resources to make the difference in how cancer affects our lives. And it matters. You all know it better than I do. Failure is not an option. You know, when has it ever been in the United States of America that a challenge is put forward and Americans went, well, let me see, I'm not so sure we can do that. I'm not so sure we can invest in that. My God, this is the United States of America. And every day here and around the world, thousands of people are dying. Millions of people are desperately looking for hope. You know it. You deal with them every day. They're looking for hope. They don't give up. They hang on. They're like our son at the last days. Dad, I'm not afraid. I'm okay. Keep going. You look at the people you work with, and you can't do anything but walk away with a sense of, my God, the resilience of human beings. My mother used to say, bravery lies in every heart and someday it will be called upon. Unfortunately, it's being called upon every single day for so many people. And some are just looking for another day, another month, another year, just to make it one more birthday. Like I said, make my daughter's wedding. You know, you had a comedian stand up in front of you today, dealing with a hell of a verdict that's been rendered. I asked him how he's doing. He said he's going in for his operation. I don't know, it's public knowledge, so I won't say the day. I asked him anything I do. He said, yeah, pray for me. And I'm going to be okay. Pray for me. You know, folks, so many of you know so much more about the disease than I do. But you know, we can end cancer as we know it. We need to keep this collaboration going. This summit isn't the end of anything. It's the beginning for some. It's continuation for many of the collaborations that we need to address a host of problems. A host of problems. But every one of these collaborations depend on you in this room, the people in this room, and the people you represent from your disciplines. You know, there are, right here in Washington, we had a lot of people, all of you sitting in front of me, but there were thousands spread all across the country. Serious players like you. Groups of ordinary citizens, but also the leading oncologists, the leading hospitals, the leading researchers in those communities, gathered like we are here today. One of the reasons I so desperately wanted this to occur and succeed as you made it succeed is to reinvigorate the country with the notion that we're in this game, man. We're in it up to our hips, up to our ears. To let people across the nation once again begin to believe that, you know, we can do anything. We're here to work with you. And it's clear I've learned so much from you. We're here to support you. We call for help, and you all answered. You didn't need us to call. You were already doing it. You're already in the game. We basically want to say thank you, encourage you, challenge you to make every day a day closer to the end of cancer as we know it. Thank you for being part of the summit. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your commitment. It really, really, really matters, and you know it. I served years ago as a young 30-year-old senator with a guy who was a great guy. I didn't agree with him much on anything philosophically, but he was a man of great character, Barry Goldwater. Remember that expression? None of you women are old enough to remember, but some of you men will remember, and it's been handed down if people don't know who said it now. But he said, in your heart, you know I'm right. Well, I think he was wrong about his policies, but the phrase, in your heart, you know, in your heart, you know what I'm saying is true. In your heart, you know. If we collaborate, if we share, if we move, if we unite, we can actually change people's lives in a more profound way than we've been able to do any time up to now. So I just want to say, God bless you all for what you do, who you are, and the capacities you bring to this fight. And may God protect our troops. Thank you so, so very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.